Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel Unstuck at Fortis. In today's session, we'll be doing a few hands-on tasks to implement GitOps in our enterprise environment or project with the help of Argo CD, focusing on its implementation within a GKE environment. So the question comes naturally, what is GitOps? GitOps normally simplifies Kubernetes application delivery and operation processes by using Git as a single source of truth. It is a way to manage your applications or microservices and infrastructure using Git as the single source of truth. So let's say imagine Git, where you keep all of your code, acting like a big remote control for your applications and servers or VMs or containers. You store descriptions of how your application should look and how your servers should be set up in Git. So when you want to make changes, let's say changing the version or making the replicas or number of replicas and also type of the hardware parameters, you just update Git. Then automatically your applications or microservices and servers update to match what you put inside Git. So it's like telling your cloud or Kubernetes cluster, hey, look at Git to see how this application or microservices should be running. Yeah. So whether you are new to Kubernetes or looking to streamline your deployment process, this session will help you set up Argo CD on GKE or any other cloud from scratch. So before diving in, ensure you have a cloud environment ready, or so-called cloud account or base account ready for you, or maybe in a local development environment also should be fine. You need to have a basic knowledge of Kubernetes and the Cloud SDK installed on your system. I am doing this whole scenario using GCP. You can even use AWS, Azure, or any local Kubernetes setup like Kind or K3s. So I'll be managing our setup from my local MacBook, not from GCP Cloud Shell for this hands-on session. Yeah. So first of all, I need to start with the authentication and project setup. So first off, we have to authenticate our GCP using the command GCP or gcloud auth login. So for the sake of time, saving some time, I have actually done all these commands till now because it will save me directly at least 10 to 15 minutes sometimes. Yeah. So this particular gcloud auth login, it will normally help you to authenticate your GCP environment with your local desktop or from your local desktop. Then you will be setting up your project, using gcloud config set project and then project ID, and you will get all those details from here. This is the project ID which you have to get it, and here you will be giving just replacing that value with this project ID place, and then you will go ahead and set enable your Google Kubernetes Engine or GKE API using gcloud services enable container dot whatever googleapis.com, and then you will be going ahead and create a Kubernetes cluster. In my earlier video, I have created a Kubernetes cluster only with one node. Here, just for sake, I have created with 3 nodes. You can create with 1, 2, 3, your wish, and the machine type E2 medium. So Kubernetes cluster readiness also takes a good amount of time. So I just made everything done for us. And then we need to retrieve cluster credential. Why? To interact with the cluster from my local MacBook using this command. So I can do the same thing from here. Now I can get the same command from here. This is the particular cluster, which is GitOps cluster, which is already created. I will go to the connect, I will get the copy, and I'll put the command from here, copy it, and I will run here. So which will help me to retrieve the cluster credential and just authenticate my environment on my laptop or my VS Code to interact with the cluster. So as our GKE cluster is ready, so we'll be moving up to set up our Argo CD environment now. So we will now install Argo CD. So before installing, we need to create Argo CD namespace so that we keep everything separate, and then install Argo CD for our purpose. So I just go ahead and run this command to create the namespace, names Argo CD, and then we'll run this command kubectl apply, and then the whole install.yaml folder under Argo CD namespace. Yeah. And once I start running it, we'll see slowly and steadily all this particular Kubernetes resources, or rather I'll say Argo CD resources, which are getting created inside the namespace Argo CD, slowly and steadily. And once it is done, I will actually run this command, kubectl get all -n Argo CD. Okay, inside this namespace Argo CD, I will run this kubectl get all to see which all resources has been created. Yeah. So these are all the resources which has been created, and for me, the critical resource is service/Argo CD server. Why? Because if I have to interact with Argo CD UI, I have to interact with this particular service, and if I have to interact with this particular service, I have to expose this particular service. Okay, by maybe there are different methods, of course. One of the method being doing a port forward. Yeah. So I run this, and once I run it, it will actually start port forwarding to our local host 127.0.0.0 and then 8080. And if I take it and actually start running in my Internet Explorer, I will be actually redirecting to the Argo CD UI, which I don't want at this point of time. I mean, I want to go to Argo CD UI, but via a different method. Why or how? Using load balancer. Yeah. So what I'll do is I will basically expose this particular service via a load balancer. There is a reason to do that, of course, for the management purpose. So now what I will do is I need to, as I have actually exposed it via a load balancer, I have enabled the load balancer service. So this will create an external IP. Yeah. To you can say the load balancer IP, via which we'll be able to access this Argo CD server service. And I am actually watching this particular service, which are actually starting up with Argo CD server. Okay, and I'm actually watching the real-time output. And in few seconds, we'll see this particular pending. It will actually give a new line, and here I will be getting the external IP, which is the load balancer IP, and that's what we want. So I will go here, and I will run here basically advanced, and then here it is. So this is the Argo CD portal which I can access now, but we do not have the password, and for getting the password I need to run this command. Yeah, so this is the one which I need to run. And before everything goes out, what I have to do is I just trying to make one particular command ready, because later on I'll be needing it. So I'm just keeping one more command ready. Yeah. Okay, awesome. Now what I can do is I will, as we have actually generated this password, I can actually go to the Argo CD UI, and yeah, here is the Argo CD UI first time view for all of you guys. Yeah. At this point, we do not have any app which has been deployed over here, so we'll wait for some time because I'll be just going to do that for you. Yeah. So once we do that, at this point of time, we need if obviously we want to do this particular want a particular application to be deployed inside this, we need a demo or a particular sample application which we can actually do it. So this particular sample application which we'll be using it is nothing but Nginx deployment for us. Remember one thing, in any enterprise environment or any big company, yeah, what they do is instead of this sample application, which is in my case is Nginx environment, they use, or they actually have their own microservice applications, which are enterprise-based applications basically, which basically runs inside production, and what they want to implement the GitOps on top of those applications, they will be using those microservice applications for deploying inside Argo CD. So for us, we do not need that much bigger application because we just want to show you how basically we actually make our hands a little bit dirty with Argo CD and do a little bit of upgrade, downgrade kind of features, for which Argo CD is famous. That's the reason we are using a very simple Nginx deployment file. So for us, if I have to show it here, this YAML file, if I show it here, so it is pretty simple, yeah. So this particular YAML code defines a Kubernetes deployment and a service. So you might be thinking like, okay, in one file I have given both deployment and service. I could have given in two YAML files, but I just wanted to make sure that I'm not making it two files separately. So I actually adjusted, or actually mixed up both the deployment YAML and service YAML inside one particular single YAML. You can do it always, yeah. So this particular file, it defines a Kubernetes deployment, as I mentioned, and also a service for running an Nginx web server. The deployment ensures that there are two replicas or two instances of the Nginx server are running using Nginx 1.20.0 image version. Yeah, Nginx 1.20.0 image version, and the service exposes this Nginx instances outside the Kubernetes cluster by mapping a cluster-wide port 3007 to the Nginx container port 80, yeah, allowing external access to the web server. That's all. Yeah, there is no more explanation, or there is nothing to know more comment about it. And if I want to show it here, you can see inside this particular YouTube video series GitHub portal. Yeah, so here you can go to gcloud and then GitOps using Argo CD, and then inside this simple app I have this particular same file ready for us. Yeah, so remember one thing, this particular step which I'll do now, you have to fork this same, because right now it is with me, it is obviously there in my local desktop, that's why I have not forked it. But for you, if you want to do the lab, you have to fork this particular repo, okay, which is this one. Yeah, so I fork this sample repository, which is github.com nishantabani, YouTube series.git, and then obviously once you fork it, you can actually give this particular command, or rather when you run it, it will do it. Also, you may feel that this particular YAML file, which is Nginx deployment, is a little bit inside, because there are multiple number of folders which are there in the path. If you want to create your own folder structure, you can create it, but make sure that you give the proper path. Okay, so that's fine. So right now what I'll do is I will run this command. That's the reason I actually kept it here ready, so that just the way I have logged in inside GUI, Argo CD GUI, I want to logged in into Argo CD CLI. Okay, so I have given username admin, password this, and I have given the load balancer IP, and I am giving Y because I want to log in inside this. Otherwise, I will not be able to run this Argo CD app create command. Yeah, so before running all the kind of commands in Argo CD, using Argo CD CLI, you have to make sure that you are logged in inside the Argo CD environment. So this application has been created, and once you go there in application tiles, you will see this particular Nginx deployment is ready for you. Now, once it is here, yeah, so you have to sync this application by clicking here, sync, or you have to go here and you need to, before doing it, I want to run this command, Argo CD app list, to see whether the way it is showing me in GUI, whether it is showing me in CLI or not. Yes, it is showing here, and you see out of sync. Yeah, so I need to sync it. Okay, what syncing does? Syncing basically transfers, or basically syncs or reflects the changes which you have made it. Yeah, and all of the particular changes which you'll be making inside Git, or maybe via any YAML file or something, or even customize or ham, all these things needs syncing. Yeah, so that it is actually getting reflected inside in your Argo CD environment. So when I run this Argo CD app sync, okay, I'm not doing anything from the GUI part. You can actually click on sync, it will do the same thing, but I want to do everything from here. So when I run this Argo CD app sync, okay, so it will be syncing this particular one, and we'll see here the syncing has started. It is synced, healthy, yeah. And when you go here, this is the super part, upgrading to Nginx 1.20. Yeah, you go here, you see Nginx version is 1.20, exactly the same thing which is here. Yeah, so that's all. That's not exactly all, but that's how you basically deploy an Argo CD, or rather a particular application inside Argo CD, and implement the GitOps part over here. So now what you'll do is we can now demonstrate a little bit power of GitOps. So let's make a few changes to our Nginx deployment version, or maybe number of replicas in Git repository or in our this particular YAML file, and commit and push the changes and watch Argo CD automatically apply the update to your cluster. So normally what happens that whenever any kind of Kubernetes changes we do, we rather, in normal scenario, we make all the changes inside the Nginx deployment or somewhere else or any other deployment file, and we run the command kubectl-apply, and then we make the changes, correct? Or we use ham chart or customize, run those commands to make those changes. But now with the introduction of GitOps, we do not do that. What we do is pretty simple. So as we have deployed Argo CD now, what I want to do is I want to, let's say example, downgrade from 1.20 to 1.19. So let's say I'm just downgrading, and I'm downgrading this one to, let's say, to one replica. Let the replica be similar, that's fine, no problem. So I'm just downgrading it and I'm saving it, that's fine. And I'll go here and I'll see, first of all, let me see which, that is fine. It's present working directory. I'll see git status, and I see, there is a change which is required. So I'll do git add because I have made the change. And now I will commit as 19 because I have downgraded, correct? So downgrading to Nginx 1.19.0, and once it's done, I will push it. So once I push, so this should show here. First of all, I'll come here, and if I come here, you see 1.19. This 1.20 has become 1.19, and it is just got updated now. And when I come here, that's an application part, I'll see it is showing me the changes like when it has been the last thing, like 3 minutes ago only. Why? Because remember one thing, Argo CD will not automatically detect the changes and apply them. There is one trick. So when we do that, for any kind of application, if you do not enable auto sync, Argo CD will not automatically detect the changes and apply them while upgrading or downgrading Nginx or any other application in your cluster. You have to either click on sync every time you want to do it, or you have to enable this auto sync feature. So you have to run the sync command every time whenever you want to do it, or you permanently has to enable this auto sync feature for this particular application, Nginx application. So for each and every application, you have to do, or you have to enable the auto sync feature. So which will make sure, if you enable this particular auto sync, that will make sure that the applied changes from Git are automatically getting deployed to your cluster. So let's say I can go ahead and click on sync, and you can do that. You see it is showing out of sync. Out of sync, but still it has not been applied the change over here. Why? Because it is waiting for us to click on sync or enable our auto sync. So what I'll do is I will go here and I'll run this Argo CD appset Nginx deployment sync policy automated, this particular one. So once I run this, so now you see the syncing has started. The syncing has started and it has been done. And you see, it will take some time, of course, because sometimes reflecting those particular stuffs. Here it is, downgrading to Nginx 1.19.0. And the good part is when you go here, you see Nginx has been downgraded to 1.19.0. Here is the image version is showing me like that. Now, the good thing is it is auto sync is enabled now. Auto sync is enabled now. But another point to mention, this auto sync will happen based on different environments from in a time period of 3 to 7 minutes, depending on different environment. Mostly it will happen in 5 to 6 minutes basically, but again, depending on various other parameters, it may happen within 3 to 7 minutes. So now if I go again and I upgrade the version to 1.20, and then let's say I give the replicas a 6, and then I go ahead and if I go status, you see this is the particular change it is showing me. Let me save it again and add sample this. Commit is upgrading to again 20. Yeah, and then git push. Once I do, it will make that particular change here. So once I do this, yeah, 1.20, and here it will make the change. But the problem is you have to wait for some time. You know, whatever the auto sync period, that much of time you need to wait. But it will definitely do it. Yeah. So for us, I will go ahead and manually do that for us. You know, sometimes it thinks that, I mean, force is not required, but I'm just trying to make sure that I'm just doing everything right now so that I can actually show all the stuffs. So sometimes it takes a good amount of time also. Let me see. And once it is done, it will actually show me the 6 of the particular stuffs. I mean, it will take some time, of course. Whenever all these things happens, it will take some time, and it will actually show all the spots will be you know, reflected over here. Yeah. So this setup ensures that any commits to your repository will trigger Argo CD to update your Kubernetes clusters, keeping your deployments in sync with Git, basically. Yeah, and that's it. Yeah, so you have successfully implemented GitOps on GK using Argo CD. So we now have a robust system for managing your Kubernetes deployments efficiently with all the changes tracked through Git. Yeah. And I hope today's session helps you get started with GitOps and Argo CD on GK. Dive into your dashboards, explore the metrics, and enjoy the streamlined deployment process. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Unstuck at Fortis for more tech insights and tutorials. Yeah. So keep hustling and happy deploying. Take care, guys.